You know, for the longest time, we've talked about addiction as a moral failing or a lack of willpower. But that's just not what the science tells us. It's really a neurological condition. It's like the brain's core wiring has been hijacked. And the most exciting part? We're finally learning exactly how to help the brain rewire itself. So let's get into it and explore how the brain can actually find its way back.
So that's the big question, right? When a brain's reward and control systems get totally thrown out of whack, how do we guide them back to balance? Well, the answer starts with understanding and then strengthening the brain's own internal braking system. I want you to think of your brain as this incredible high-performance car. It's got a gas pedal, for sure. That's for excitement, reward, motivation, all the good stuff. But just as important, it needs a really powerful brake pedal to keep everything under control, to just calm things down. And in the brain, that brake pedal is a system called GABA. GABA's job is actually pretty simple. Its entire purpose is to be inhibitory, basically to tell your neurons to chill out, to fire less often. It's this signal in the super noisy library of your brain. It's what creates balance, focus, and that sense of calm we all need to just function every day.
Okay, so here's where the hijacking happens. Addictive substances flood the system, and they totally disrupt that crucial balance between gas and brake. So what does the brain do? It tries to adapt by turning down the volume on its own GABA receptors. This means the brain's brakes get weaker and weaker, leaving it in a constant state of go, 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 which fuels this horrible cycle of anxiety, stress, and just intense cravings.
So how do we start to rebuild that braking system? Well, the first part of the answer, and honestly the most foundational, it doesn't involve any futuristic tech at all. It's all about using daily, consistent habits to empower the brain to heal itself. It really comes down to these 4 pillars. And yeah, they might seem super basic, but don't let that fool you. Each one has a profound and direct impact on the brain's neurochemistry, specifically targeting the very systems that addiction has damaged. Let's look at why these basics are so incredibly powerful. Exercise isn't just for your body. It spikes a protein called BDNF, which is literally like fertilizer for your brain. It helps rebuild those damaged GABA receptors. Good nutrition? That provides the raw materials, the building blocks for repair. And sleep? Well, that's when the construction crew actually shows up and does the work. And then you've got therapies like CBT, which actively forge new, healthier neural pathways. Think of it this way. These habits prepare the soil, making the brain fertile and ready for change. All right, so with that foundation in place, with the soil prepared, let's look at some of the really cutting-edge tools being explored to accelerate that healing process. Now, these are not replacements for the basics, but they are potential catalysts that seem to work best on that well-prepared brain. I just love this quote because it captures the goal here perfectly. We are not talking about some overwhelming high-dose trip. We're talking about using very small, very controlled amounts of certain compounds to just gently nudge the brain's own healing mechanism. That mechanism is a process we call neuroplasticity.
This right here, this is the biological superpower that makes all recovery possible. Your brain is not fixed, it's not set in stone. It is constantly adapting, changing, and forming new connections based on your experiences. Addiction forges one set of connections. Recovery is the active, intentional process of building a new set.
And this is where these tools get so interesting. They seem to act as really powerful promoters of that neuroplasticity. They encourage the brain to literally sprout new connections and even new neurons. This essentially loosens the grip of those old, rigid thought patterns and makes it way easier to form new, healthy ones. And just to put this into perspective, look at that number, 1 to 5 milligrams. This is what's known as a subperceptual dose, which means it's designed to work below the level of conscious awareness. The goal isn't a psychedelic trip. The goal is biology, to kickstart that rewiring process on a cellular level. But here's the thing, not all of these tools work in the same way. A really great way to understand the differences is to think of it like a sprint versus a marathon. So this table really breaks it down. On the left, you've got 5-MeO-DMT. That's the sprint. It acts incredibly fast, we're talking 5 to 20 minutes, and gives the GABA system this powerful but pretty brief boost. This makes it potentially perfect for breaking an acute craving cycle, like right now. Then on the right, you have psilocybin. That's the marathon. It works over 4 to 6 hours, gradually strengthening the GABA system, and that longer duration allows for much deeper emotional processing. So it's better suited for a long-term overhaul of habits and maybe even underlying trauma. So ultimately, it's not about which one is better. It's about choosing the right tool for the right job at the right time. Are you trying to break a really powerful, immediate habit loop? Or are you trying to go deeper and address the patterns that led you there in the first place?
Okay, let's zoom out for a moment. This focus on the GABA system and neuroplasticity, it gives us this powerful new lens to understand how a whole bunch of different substances affect the brain. It really gives us a new way to see how it's all connected. Take MDMA, for example. That flood of serotonin it creates can indirectly exhaust the GABA system. Or think about THC. It can bind directly to GABA neurons and essentially turn down the volume on the brain's brakes. It just goes to show you how absolutely central that GABA balance is to our overall mental state.
Look, if there is one single thing to take away from this entire explainer, it's this. The brain is not a static organ. It is a dynamic, living system that is built to adapt, to change, and to heal. Those pathways created by addiction, they are not permanent scars. They are simply well-worn roads that can absolutely be replaced by new ones.
And that leaves us with a pretty incredible question, doesn't it? We're starting to move beyond just managing symptoms and into an era where we can actively and intentionally guide the brain's own natural healing processes. The potential applications for addiction and way beyond are honestly just beginning to be explored.